At 56, the name Jennifer Lopez still echoes across the world, a symbol of beauty, ambition, and unshakable drive. To the public, she's the unstoppable superstar who broke barriers, becoming one of the few women to conquer music, film, and fashion all at once. But behind that flawless smile and legendary stage presence lies a heartbreaking truth few have ever seen. For decades, Jennifer has built her empire on perfection that came with unimaginable sacrifice, heartbreak, and loneliness. From her early days dancing on In Living Color to topping charts and headlining sold-out tours, Jennifer Lopez made success look effortless. Yet the spotlight that made her a global icon also became her greatest burden. She's endured public humiliation, broken engagements, and the constant scrutiny of a world obsessed with her every move. Her relationships, from Ben Affleck to Mark Anthony, became headlines rather than havens. Each heartbreak, each betrayal, each tabloid rumor carved invisible scars beneath the glittering surface of her fame. And now, as Jennifer Lopez enters the later chapters of her career, she faces something even more profound: the struggle of holding on to relevance, love, and identity in an industry that celebrates youth and discards women who dare to age. Behind the glamour, she's battled tears, silence, and the weight of her own legend. This is the story of Jennifer Lopez. Not the superstar. Not the fashion icon, but the woman who has lost, loved, and fought her way through pain to stand tall. And at 56, her tragedy is not in her fall, but in the cost of being the woman the world demanded her to be. Before the world knew her as J-Lo, the glamorous, unstoppable powerhouse, Jennifer Lopez was just a girl from the Bronx with a dream too big for her surroundings. Born in 1969 to Puerto Rican parents, Jennifer's story began in a modest neighborhood where ambition often collided with limitation. Yet, even as a child, she radiated an energy that couldn't be contained. She was the middle daughter in a strict Catholic family, raised on discipline and hard work, but her heart was always chasing rhythm and movement. Dance became her escape, a place where the noise of the world faded and her spirit came alive. Her journey began not in luxury, but in rejection. She trained relentlessly, sleeping on couches and taking any dance job she could find. Her big break came in 1991 when she landed a spot as a fly girl on the hit sketch show In Living Color. It was her first taste of fame, flashing lights, fast choreography, and the intoxicating thrill of being seen. But Jennifer wasn't content to just dance behind the stars. She wanted to be the star, and that hunger, that fire that would come to define her entire career, began to burn brighter than ever. By the late 1990s, she had made the impossible leap from background dancer to Hollywood actress.
Her portrayal of the late Tejano singer in Selena, 1997, transformed her overnight.
Critics were stunned. Audiences were moved. Jennifer Lopez had arrived, not as a dancer, not as a side act, but as a leading lady. Yet, the fame that followed came at a cost she could never have imagined. With every red carpet appearance and movie premiere, the pressure to be perfect grew heavier. Hollywood had found its first Latina superstar, and it demanded nothing less than perfection from her. Jennifer pushed harder than ever. When music called, she answered. Her debut album, On the 6th, 1999, wasn't just a hit, it was a declaration. If You Had My Love topped charts across the world, proving that she could dominate two industries at once. But behind the glamour, Jennifer's life was a relentless grind. Studio sessions that stretched into the early morning, exhausting film shoots, constant tours, all while maintaining the illusion of effortless beauty. For years, she slept little, ate little, and smiled endlessly for cameras, even when she was breaking inside. The tabloids soon crowned her Jenny from the block, but few understood what that really meant. Jennifer carried the weight of representing millions, women of color, Latinas, dreamers who saw themselves in her. Every success came with scrutiny. Every mistake became a headline. Her relationships, her fashion choices, her body, everything was dissected by a media machine eager to build her up, then tear her down. But what the world saw as confidence was often a mask. Jennifer once admitted, "I was performing for love, for acceptance, not realizing I already had worth." The pursuit of fame had filled her with glory, but drained her of peace. Behind the dazzling music videos and glittering gowns was a woman who feared that slowing down meant disappearing, that vulnerability meant weakness. As the 2000s began, Jennifer Lopez had everything she'd ever dreamed of: platinum records, blockbuster films, and a global empire. Yet deep down, she was beginning to question what it all meant. The fame that once thrilled her now consumed her. The perfection she chased had become a prison, and the loneliness that crept into her life would soon collide with love, heartbreak, and the painful realization that even at the top, Jennifer Lopez was still searching, not for applause, but for peace. As Jennifer Lopez's fame exploded, so did the scrutiny surrounding her love life. From the moment she stepped into Hollywood's glare, Jennifer's relationships became as public as her performances, played out under flashing cameras, tabloid headlines, and endless speculation. What the world saw as glamour was, in truth, a cycle of hope and heartbreak that would leave deep scars on her soul. Her first major romance came in the late 1990s with rapper and producer Sean "Diddy" Combs. Together, they were the ultimate power couple, young, beautiful, and unstoppable. But behind the glamorous red carpet appearances was chaos. The relationship was volatile, marred by rumors, jealousy, and even a 1999 nightclub incident that left Diddy facing charges and Jennifer caught in the middle of a media storm. Though she was cleared of wrongdoing, the experience shattered her sense of safety and trust. "That was the first time I really felt the cost of fame," she once said. "I realized that love, when it's public, can become something dangerous." After the breakup, Jennifer sought stability, something real, something that would last. She found that in dancer Chris Judd, whom she married in 2001. But fame has a way of devouring normalcy, and their marriage quickly crumbled under the weight of her career and constant attention. Just months after their wedding, it was over. "I loved him," she admitted years later, "but sometimes love isn't enough when the world is watching." Then came the whirlwind. Bennifer. When Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck met on the set of Giggly in 2002, the chemistry was undeniable. They were Hollywood's golden couple, splashed across every magazine cover, photographed in every corner of the world. But the same spotlight that made them iconic also tore them apart. "The media destroyed us," Jennifer would later confess. "We were just two people in love, but the noise became too loud." Their 2004 breakup left her devastated, a heartbreak that lingered for years. "I thought I was going to die," she admitted in a rare moment of vulnerability. "I felt like I'd lost myself completely." In her search for comfort and stability, Jennifer found herself drawn to singer Mark Anthony, an old friend and musical partner. Their marriage in 2004 seemed like a new beginning. Two Latin superstars united by love and shared culture. Together, they welcomed twins, Emmy and Max, and for a moment, it looked like Jennifer had finally found peace. But behind closed doors, cracks began to form. Career pressures, creative differences, and emotional distance eroded what once felt unbreakable. When they divorced in 2011, Jennifer described it as one of the darkest times of her life. "I was broken," she confessed. "I felt like I had failed not just as a wife, but as a woman." Each heartbreak became another layer of armor, yet also another reminder of how deeply Jennifer longed for love. She threw herself into work, building her music and film legacy while trying to heal wounds that success couldn't touch. The world praised her resilience, her ability to bounce back, but few understood the loneliness behind the smiles. "People think strength means never falling apart," she once said. "But for me, strength was getting up every time I did." As the years passed, Jennifer's love life continued to make headlines, from rumored romances to her rekindled relationship with Ben Affleck decades later. But something had changed. She was no longer the woman chasing love to feel whole. She was a survivor who had learned that real love begins within. Still, the price she paid for living her heart in public was staggering. Each heartbreak, each betrayal, each lost dream became part of a quiet tragedy. The story of a woman who could light up the world, yet so often found herself crying alone in the dark. At the height of her fame, Jennifer Lopez seemed untouchable. Flawless skin, sculpted physique, radiant energy. She graced magazine covers, dominated music charts, headlined films, and reigned as a fashion icon. To millions, she was the very definition of perfection. But behind the flawless image was a woman fighting a silent war against exhaustion, insecurity, and the relentless expectations of an unforgiving world. Fame had given her everything, but it also demanded that she give everything in return. Jennifer's schedule became grueling. Weeks without rest, rehearsals that bled into dawn, and photo shoots that stretched for hours. She was the brand now, J.Lo, the product of her own making. The music, the films, the perfumes, the clothing lines, every part of her life became a business, leaving little room for the human behind the icon. "I didn't know where Jennifer ended and J.Lo began," she once confessed. "I was always performing, even when no one was watching." As her fame grew, so did the criticism. The media loved to build her up, only to tear her down. Her love life became late-night punchlines. Every public appearance was analyzed, every perceived flaw magnified. The tabloids mocked her failed marriages, her age, her body, yet Jennifer endured it all with a smile that hid a growing sadness. "They wanted me to be perfect," she said in a rare moment of candor. "And I tried to be, until I realized perfection was killing me." The pressure finally caught up with her. After her divorce from Mark Anthony, Jennifer began to unravel privately. Years of emotional neglect, heartbreak, and public scrutiny had taken their toll. In her 2014 memoir, True Love, she revealed how deeply lost she had become. "I was terrified," she wrote. Terrified of being alone. Terrified of failing. Terrified that I wasn't enough. Beneath the sequins and smiles was a woman who felt like a fraud, adored by millions, yet unloved by herself. Her breaking point came quietly. One night, after another long day of pretending to be okay, Jennifer collapsed in tears. "I was exhausted, physically, emotionally, spiritually," she said, "and I realized I couldn't live that way anymore." That moment of breakdown became the turning point. She began therapy, meditation, and journaling, small acts of healing that helped her peel away the layers of performance. She stopped chasing validation from others and started searching for peace within. "I had to learn to love myself," she said. "Not the image of me, but the real me." Through her vulnerability, Jennifer began to rediscover her strength. She poured her emotions into her art. Her music became more personal, her performances more honest. Songs like Limitless and Cambia El Paso reflected a woman reclaiming her power. She embraced aging as a privilege, not a punishment, proudly declaring, "I'm in the best shape of my life, not because of how I look, but because of how I feel." For the first time, Jennifer Lopez wasn't performing for approval. She was living for authenticity. Still, even as she found healing, the battle wasn't over. The same world that once worshipped her now questioned her every move. Her rekindled relationship with Ben Affleck, her emotional vulnerability, her right to still be in the spotlight at 56. Yet, Jennifer no longer bowed to the noise. She stood taller, softer, and truer than ever before. "I've learned that happiness isn't in the applause," she said. "It's in the quiet moments when I can finally breathe." Jennifer Lopez's tragedy was never that she fell. It's that she spent so many years afraid to stop performing long enough to heal. But through that pain, she discovered something far more powerful than fame: the courage to be real. In the end, Jennifer Lopez's story isn't just one of heartbreak, it's one of rebirth. From the girl in the Bronx who dreamed of dancing on stage to the global superstar who redefined what it means to be a modern woman in entertainment, Jennifer's journey is a testament to resilience. She's fallen, stumbled, and faced ridicule, but she always rose stronger, her spirit refusing to break. Every heartbreak, every headline, every whispered doubt became the fuel for her evolution, from performer to powerhouse, from starlet to survivor. After decades in the public eye, Jennifer began to understand that her true strength wasn't in her beauty or even her fame, but in her endurance. She once said, "You can't let failure define you. You let it refine you." Those words became her mantra. Instead of hiding from her past, she embraced it. The failed marriages, the career missteps, the times she lost herself in trying to please others. She transformed those scars into lessons, reminders of who she never wanted to become again. And that newfound awareness showed in everything she did. When Jennifer stepped onto the Super Bowl stage in 2020, it wasn't just a performance, it was a declaration. At 50, she reminded the world that women don't expire with age. They evolve, draped in silver, moving with the same fire that had carried her from the Bronx streets. She wasn't just entertaining, she was reclaiming her story. I wanted to show that you can be strong, you can be proud, you can be unapologetically yourself, she said. It was a moment of victory not just for her, but for every woman who had ever been told she was too old, too emotional, or too ambitious. But even as she stood in the spotlight, Jennifer's greatest transformation was happening away from it, in her personal life. Her rekindled relationship with Ben Affleck became a full-circle moment, but not in the way the tabloids painted it. This wasn't about nostalgia or fairy tale endings. It was about two people who had lived, hurt, grown, and found their way back, not as who they were, but as who they had become. Jennifer often spoke about love differently now. You can't find peace in someone else, she said softly. You find it within yourself first. Then love becomes a gift, not a cure. Still, her road hasn't been without struggle. Aging in Hollywood remains brutal, especially for women. Every new wrinkle, every quiet moment becomes a headline. Yet Jennifer doesn't flinch anymore. She wears her years with pride, calling them her proof of survival. She no longer chases trends, she creates them. She no longer fears solitude, she embraces it. Her focus now lies not on fame, but on legacy. Not what people will say about her, but what she leaves behind. Jennifer has also turned her platform into purpose. Through her work with charities, mentorship programs, and advocacy for Latina women in entertainment, she's ensuring that her story of struggle and success becomes a bridge for others. If my journey can help someone else believe in themselves, she said, then every tear was worth it. It's a perspective born not of stardom, but of wisdom. The kind that comes only from surviving the storms and still daring to shine. Today, at 56, Jennifer Lopez stands as a woman who has lived every shade of fame, the glory, the heartbreak, the isolation, and the healing. Her tragedy was once that she believed love and success could fix her pain. Her triumph is realizing that peace comes from within, not applause. I've learned, she says, that my worth isn't in who loves me, but in how deeply I love myself. And perhaps that's Jennifer Lopez's greatest lesson, that beneath the glamour, beyond the heartbreak, lies a woman who fought her way back to herself. Her story reminds us that even when the spotlight fades, the soul can still shine brighter than ever.